Howdy and welcome. I want to introduce you to Teaching Practices Game, which is designed as an interactive resource for training teaching assistants. But I think sometimes the scenarios that it brings up can be relevant for anyone who's involved in teaching. I'm your host, Colleen Lewis. I'm an assistant professor of computer science at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And my co-creator for this game is Phil Conrad, who's at the University of California at Santa Barbara. And Phil and I received funding from the ACM SIGSI organization to fund the creation of this game. And then I've also received NSF funding to fund this work. This is part of a larger project of mine, csteachingtips.org, where we try and document and disseminate effective teaching practices. You can go to csteachingtips.org. We've got a bunch of tip sheets. They're sort of our best of stuff, so you can check that out. So here's the plan, is we're going to have everybody open the set of slides, and then we're going to put people in breakout rooms. And so then in the breakout room, we'll need one person to share their slides. And then when they present, they'll see a question like this. What would you do if students in your class seem embarrassed when they get something wrong? And the slide, as it's shown here, each of them are going to have the instructions built in. So step one, you're going to discuss how you would respond to the scenario above. Okay, so everybody in my breakout room would describe how they would handle it if students seemed embarrassed when they got something wrong. Then when everyone had answered and we had talked through that, if I was the one presenting, I would click next, and it would show a sample answer. And then in our group, we're going to have someone read that sample answer. That can keep everybody on the same page. So here it says, I would draw attention to it when I had made mistakes in class. I would practice responding to incorrect answers in a way that suggests incorrect answers are normal on the path to learning. Before asking students to speak in class, I'd give them a minute to chat with a neighbor, which can help them get a right answer, or I could overhear who has a right answer that I could call on. Okay, and so if this sample answer brought up new ideas that your team hadn't already discussed in your breakout room, then you could chat about those. But if you mainly hit all of those, you can go on to the next slide, which will have a new scenario. And so in your breakout rooms, you're going to start off by reintroducing yourself, even if you already know each other. One person will share their screen with these slides, and then you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, that's what the slide looks like with the answer hidden, or with the sample answer hidden. You'll have everyone share how they would respond. The person who's presenting will click next, and then you'll be able to read the sample answer. And then rotate who reads the sample answer and the scenario between each of the cards. Okay, there are way, way, way more cards than you're going to discuss. I find that in 20 minutes, people might get through between 2 and 10 cards. And actually, when people only get through 2 cards, it's usually because they've had really fruitful discussions. You know, this scenario brought up something else someone had seen in class and not known how to handle it. And so those are exactly the type of scenario-based conversations that we want you to be having about teaching practices. Additionally, there's actually 2 rounds to the game. So you'll start by addressing cards that are mainly teaching scenarios, and then in round 2 you'll play a variant of microaggressions, the game, and we've got a whole nother set of cards there. But don't worry, you're going to have access to these cards after the fact, so you don't need to feel like you need to rush your group through. Okay, now I think you're ready to head into the breakout groups. Introduce yourself. One person will share their screen, and then you should see something like you see on the bottom left.